Tomil was a quiet man. He worked as a mechanic in a small desert town. He liked fixing things, machines, cars, even broken radios. Life was simple. He didn't need much. Cold drink, a working toolbox, and the sound of wind blowing over the sand were enough for him. One evening, just before sunset, Tomil was working on an old rover. The engine was dusty and the solar panels cracked. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked up at the wide, empty sky. That's when he saw it. A strange light appeared above him. At first he thought it was a drone or maybe a weather balloon. But it didn't move like anything from Earth. It floated, then spun slowly, glowing softly. It was beautiful and silent. Before Tomil could step back, a beam of blue light shot down and surrounded him. His body froze. He couldn't move or even speak. The world around him turned white, then dark. When Tomil woke up, he was lying on a smooth silver floor. The air smelled like metal. The room was bright, but not from light, as everything seemed to glow gently from the walls. He sat up slowly, his head spinning. Where am I? The door in front of him slid open without a sound. A tall figure stepped in. She wasn't human. She had long silver hair, bright violet eyes, and skin that shimmered like starlight. She wore armor made of smooth plates, and she stood with her back straight like a soldier. Tomil's eyes went wide. He opened his mouth, but no words came. "I am Zara, Queen of the Volari," the tall alien woman said. Her voice was calm and deep. "You are not in danger. You are on our ship, far above your planet." Tomil blinked. Ship. Ship. Zara nodded. "You were chosen. We have been watching Earth for many years. You are one of the few who has the mind we need." Tomil frowned. Mind? What does that mean? Another figure entered the room, a younger Volari, with softer features and kind eyes. She handed Tomil a small glass of water. It tasted fresh, like mountain spring water. "Your kind is strange to us," Zara continued. "Most species cannot resist our mental power, but humans. Some of you are different. We tried to read your thoughts, but you blocked us." Tomil was confused. He didn't know anything about psychic powers or alien tests. He was just a mechanic. All he did was fix machines and listen to old songs on the radio. "I think you've got the wrong guy," he said, standing up slowly. "I'm not special. I fix things. That's all." Zara raised an eyebrow. "That may be why you are special. A simple mind with strong will, calm under pressure." Unshaken by fear, Tomil scratched his head. "I was scared, all right. But there wasn't much I could do while stuck in a beam of light." To his surprise, Zara gave a small smile. "You speak with honesty. That is rare," she said. "You will stay here for now. You are safe. Our people wish to learn from you." Tomil looked around. The room had no windows, just smooth walls and a soft humming sound in the background. "Do I have a choice?" he asked as Zara paused. "You may choose how you spend your time, but you cannot return to Earth. Not yet." Later, Tomil was led through the ship by two Volari guards. They didn't speak, but they didn't treat him badly either. He saw wide halls, glowing floors, and rooms filled with technology far beyond anything he had seen. Some Volari were training with strange weapons. Others were sitting in circles, meditating in silence. Finally, they reached a large room with a wide view of space. Stars shone like diamonds, and below, Earth was just a small, blue ball. Tomil sat down near the window. For the first time, he felt truly small. Mira, the young Volari from before, joined him. "You look troubled," she said. "Troubled." Tomil sighed. "I just got pulled off my planet by giant warrior women who read minds. Of course I'm troubled." Laughed softly. "You're handling it well." Others would scream or try to run. "I guess I'm too confused to panic," Tomil said with a shrug. Mira looked out the window. "Our people have been strong for many centuries. We control many systems, but something is missing. Our minds are sharp, but our hearts grow cold. You, humans, you are unpredictable, strange, but you carry something we lost long ago." Tomil thought for a moment. You think I can help fix that? Yes, Mira said. But not with weapons or power. With ideas. With stories. With the way you solve problems? Tomiel gave a weak smile. I'm not a hero, Myra. I'm just a guy with a wrench. Sometimes, she said gently, a wrench is more powerful than a sword. As the stars continued to shine beyond the glass, Tomiel knew his quiet life was gone. But something bigger had begun. He didn't know what these alien women wanted. To learn from him, he didn't know what kind of tournaments were coming, but he knew one thing for sure. He was not going to stay quiet. Not now. Not here. Tomiel woke up early the next day. He had slept on a soft bed inside a silver room that looked like a hotel room from the future. There were no windows, but the ceiling glowed like morning sunlight. He stretched, yawned, and looked around. Still. On the alien ship, he said to himself. Still far from home. Soft tone beeped from the wall. A round door opened, and Mira walked in with a small tray of food. The food looked strange bright colors and odd shapes, but it smelled good. Breakfast, Mira said with a smile. We made it based on what your body needs. Tomiel raised an eyebrow. So now I'm your science experiment? You're more than that, she replied kindly. You're something new, something rare. Tomiel sat and started eating. Food tasted like fruit and bread mixed together, not bad. As he chewed, Mira sat across from him. Today, the council wants to test your mind again, she said. They still don't understand how you resist our psychic touch. Tomiel paused. Psychic touch? Mira nodded. Most creatures fall into a dream when we read their thoughts. But you remain awake. A wall blocks us. You don't even know how you're doing it. Tomiel looked unsure. I really don't. I never trained for anything like that. Why, they're curious, Mira said. Later, 2 guards escorted Tomiel to a round room deep inside the ship. The floor was soft and white, the walls curved like a pearl. In the center stood 5 tall Valari elders, each wearing long robes with glowing lines. Queen Zara stood beside them. Tomiel stepped forward. He felt like a student called to the front of class. Zara spoke firmly. Tomiel of Earth, we wish to understand. Your resistance? You will not be harmed. You will only observe. Tomiel gave a short nod. All right. But don't blame me if nothing happens. One of the elders stepped forward. Name was Lenora. She closed her eyes and raised her hand. Soft purple light glowed between her fingers. Tomiel suddenly felt a breeze in his mind, like someone had opened a door in his thoughts. But the door slammed shut by itself. Lenora stepped back, eyes wide. He blocked me, she whispered. Another elder tried, then a third. Each time their power slipped off him like water on glass. He is not using strength, one of them said. It is natural. Passive, like breathing. Tomiel scratched. His head. You're all reading minds. Mine is closed like a locked box. Maybe I just think slow? Zira stepped forward. It is more than that. You have a calm shield. No fear, no anger. That makes you strong. Tomiel smiled a little. I've been fixing broken machines all my life. If I panic, the engine explodes. Staying calm is just part of the job. The elders looked at each other. Then Zira raised her hand. Your calmness. She said maybe the secret we've lost. Our people once had balance, mind and heart. But long ago, we chose control over feeling. Tomiel tilted his head. So now you want it back? Zara nodded slowly. If we do not change, we will become cold metal, strong but empty. Tomiel crossed his arms. And you think I can fix that? No, said Zara, but maybe you can show us a different way. After the test, Tomiel returned to his room. He sat by the table, deep in thought. Mira joined him again, bringing a cup of warm liquid that smelled like tea. You did well today, she said. I didn't do anything. He replied. Just stood there and let them try to read my mind. Exactly, she said. You stayed calm. It's something many Valari cannot do. Tomiel looked at her. Why are you different from the others? Mira smiled gently. I was raised. Near the outer moons, we were taught to listen more than speak, to feel, not just think. That's rare among the Valari now. Tomiel leaned back in his chair. So what happens now? More tests? Mira shook her head. The queen has a new idea. A challenge. A tournament. Tommel's eyes widened. A tournament. Like fighting, yes and no, Mira explained. It will be a competition. Not just of strength, but of logic, wisdom, and skill. The winner will earn the right to learn from you. Learn what? Tommel asked. Your way of thinking? Your ideas? Your creativity? Maybe even your peace, she answered. Tommel let out a slow breath. So I'm the prize now? You're the teacher, Mira corrected. He laughed. That's funny. On Earth, no one ever listened to me, well, she said with a soft smile. Now many will. That night, Tommel stood again in the viewing room, looking out at the stars. They were calm and endless. Somewhere down below was Earth, his world, his home. But here, in this metal ship floating through space, it was something else. He was the key to a future he didn't understand. He heard footsteps. It was Queen Zara. I know this is difficult, she said. Tommel didn't turn. I didn't ask for this. No, she said. But sometimes the stars choose for us. Tommel looked at her. And what if I fail? Zara's voice was calm. Then we all learn something. That is never a failure. He looked back at the stars. Then let's hope your warriors are ready. I'm not easy to impress. Zara gave a rare smile. Good, they will need a challenge. As she left the room, Tommel stayed behind. He didn't know how this would end, but he was ready to see what came next. The great hall of the Valari ship had changed. It was now a wide arena, full of lights, floating screens, and soft music that echoed across the silver walls. Thousands of Valari filled the seats, their armor shining, their eyes watching with interest. For them, this was not just a game. This was history. Tommel stood on a raised platform at the center of it all. His seat looked like a throne, though he never asked for one. He wore a plain shirt and pants clothes made by the Valari to match his human style. He didn't feel like a judge or a king. He just felt awkward. Myra stood beside him. She had explained the rules earlier. There will be 5 challenges, she said. Each one will test a different skill speed, strength, memory, logic, and something new, creativity. Tommel had smiled at that last one. Creativity? You sure they're ready for that? Mira smiled. We'll see. Sarah stepped forward and raised her hand. The crowd grew silent. This is a new path for our people, she said. We have always valued strength, but now we seek something greater: balance, understanding, and growth. Today, we begin that journey. A loud sound echoed through the hall as the first group of challengers stepped into the arena. There were 10 Valari women, each from a different region of their world. They stood tall and proud, some wearing light armor, others dressed in smooth uniforms. Tommel leaned toward Mira. So they're all trying to win. What exactly? The chance to be your student, Mira said. To learn your human ways. Tommel scratched his head. This still feels strange. Yes, she said softly, but also important. Challenge 1. Speed A-long track appeared. In the middle of the arena, the floor turned into a glowing path full of moving obstacles and narrow turns. It looked more like a puzzle than a race. The Valari ran with amazing control. Some jumped, others ducked, and a few danced between lasers. In spinning walls, Tommel watched, impressed. But one competitor stood out: Rila, a tall warrior with sharp eyes. She didn't run the fastest, but she moved smartly. She watched the pattern of the floor, waited for the right moment, then moved with perfect timing. She's reading the track, Tommel said. Like someone reading a machine. Mira nodded. You noticed the details. Fixing things teaches you that, Tommel replied. Rila finished the challenge with a calm walk and a small bow. Challenge. 2. Strength. The second round tested how well the challengers could carry and place heavy blocks in a complex pattern. It wasn't just about lifting. It was about control and thinking. Most competitors tried to show power. They lifted too fast and dropped blocks out of order. But one, challenger Selna, paused before each move. She studied the shapes. Then she moved carefully and finished the puzzle first. Tomil smiled. She didn't just lift. She thought first. Mira glanced at him. That's something our people often forget. Challenge 3. Memory floating screens showed a fast sequence of symbols, sounds, and colors. The challengers had to repeat the order using a touch panel. Tomil expected this one to be easy for them. Valari minds were sharp. And yes, most of them did well. But one challenger, Tira, closed her eyes and listened to the sounds, not just the colors. She remembered the sequence by turning it into a song. She used rhythm, Tomil said, surprised. That's what musicians do on Earth. She's from the Moon Tribes, Mira said. They sing before battle, smart Tomil said. Music helps the brain remember. Challenge 4. Logic. A large puzzle formed on the arena floor. It was a maze, but it changed. Every few minutes. The challengers had to find the exit using patterns in the walls. Many ran fast and got trapped. Some tried to break the walls but failed. But one woman, Nira, took her time. She walked slowly, marked the patterns with chalk dust from her pocket, and figured out the path. She solved it like a builder, Tomil said. Test mark, repeat. She works with structures, Mira said. Then I like her already, Tomil smiled. Challenge 5. Creativity. This was the new one. Surprise, each challenger was given the same. Materials, wires, metal pieces, magnets, and lights. The task? Build something useful in 10 minutes. Some made small tools. Others tried to build weapons, but Mira watched one challenger, carefully Lyra, quiet woman from the farming colonies. Lyra built a small machine that poured water from a tube into 3 cups. Each cup lit up in a different color. Then it spoke. Clean. Pure. Shared. The crowd went silent. She made a water sharer, Mira whispered. For dry lands, Tomil clapped. That's beautiful. She didn't build to fight. She built to help. After all 5 rounds, the crowd waited for the result. Queen Zara stepped forward. These were not just tests of power, she said. They were lessons in thought. Each challenger showed strength. In different ways, she turned to Tomil. You have watched. What do you see? Tomil stood and took a breath. All eyes were on him. I saw more than winners, he said. I saw builders, thinkers, and feelers. You don't need to choose the strongest. You need the one who can teach others. He pointed toward Lyra, the water machine maker. She didn't try to win. She tried to help.
That's
what we need more of. Zira nodded. Then Lyra will. Be the first to learn from you. The crowd clapped not loudly, but with respect. As the arena cleared, Tomil sat back down. Tired, but amazed. You judged with wisdom, Mira said. Tomil laughed. I just said what I saw. And that, she said, is exactly what makes you special. After the first tournament, life on the Valari ship started to change. Warriors who once only trained for battle now talked about ideas, puzzles, and even music. In the halls, some could be seen drawing or writing. Others built small machines like Lyra's water-sharing tool. Tomil noticed the change. He smiled when a young Valari asked him how to make a simple pulley using string and metal rings. But not everyone liked this new path. In a dark room at the edge of the ship, High Commander Vel watched the tournament recordings again and again. Her eyes were sharp, her face cold. She was strong, respected, and feared. She had led armies. She had won wars, and now this human was changing everything. This is dangerous, Vel said. He is soft. His ideas will make us weak. Another Valari officer, Jera, stood nearby. The Queen believes his ways will help us grow. Vel shook her head. The Queen is distracted. His Tomil does not fight. He speaks of kindness and teamwork. He must not lead us away from strength. Jera hesitated, but he resists our minds. That means I do not fear his mind, Vel said firmly. I fear his influence. Meanwhile, Tomil was in the learning chamber with Lyra. She was quiet, focused, and curious. She watched his hands carefully as he showed her how to make a water filter using sand, cloth, and stones. In some places on Earth, Tomil said, clean water is hard to find. People use simple tools like this. Lyra gently poured water through the filter and watched it drip clearer than before. It's simple, she said, but it works. That's the point. Tomil smiled. Sometimes small things make a big difference. Mira entered with a message from the queen. Zira wants to see you. Now Tomil stood. All right, something wrong? She didn't say Mira. Replied, but her face looked worried. In the throne chamber, Queen Zara stood beside a glowing map of the galaxy. She looked serious. We received a signal from the outer moons, she said. A message hidden inside a training report. Kind of message? Tomil asked. Zara pressed a button. A voice played through the room. It was High Commander Vel. The human is changing our people. Soon, we will forget who we are. If we lose our edge, we will fall. The queen must be watched. If she cannot lead with strength, others will rise. Tomil listened quietly. Mira's face grew pale. She's planning to take control, Mira said. Zira nodded. Not yet. But soon, she will try to prove that your influence is dangerous. Tomil looked down. People apart. You didn't, Zara said gently. Showed them another way. But Vel sees only threat. What can we do? Myra asked. We show strength, Zira said. Not with force, but with unity. She turned to Tomil. The next tournament will be held on the ground, on our homeworld. Let Vel see that peace is not weakness. Tomil hesitated. Will it be safe? Zira looked at him with calm eyes. Not fully. We must go. The next day, the ship traveled through a jump gate and arrived near the Valari homeworld. The planet was green with wide oceans and silver cities built into the cliffs. Tomil stood on a platform, looking down as the ship landed. It's beautiful, he whispered. It was once filled with song and gardens, Mira said beside him. Before war changed us. As they landed, Valari citizens gathered to see the strange human who had become part of their future. Some were curious, others were unsure. Tomil walked beside Zara, Mira, and Lyra through the city square. Vel stood at a distance, watching closely, her arms crossed. That night they stayed in a high tower with glass walls. Tomil looked out over the glowing city lights. Mira brought him a small book. What's this? He asked. Old Valari Stories. She said, Before we became a warrior people. He opened it. Side were drawings of animals, rivers, and children playing. No. There was a page that showed a tree growing in the center of a village. We once believed that life and strength must grow together, Mira said. Not fight each other. Tomil ran his fingers over the page. Maybe it's time to believe that again. The next morning, the second tournament began. It wasn't just warriors this time. Artists, builders, and thinkers joined the challenge. Each group had to work together to solve a real-world problem, create a system to collect rainwater for a desert village. The team that worked best included Lyra, a young warrior named Fenna, and a builder named Solon. They argued at first, but Tomil encouraged them to listen, share ideas, and test each plan carefully as they worked. Vel watched from the side with narrowed eyes. They waste time talking, she whispered. That is not the Valari way. But by the end of the day, the team had built a strong system, pipes, filters, and storage tanks all working together. The model was tested with real water. It worked perfectly. The crowd clapped softly. Queen Zara smiled. And this is the future. A balance of hands, hearts, and minds. Tomil stepped forward. On Earth, we learned the hard way that strength, without wisdom, leads to loss. But when people work together, they build more than machines. They build hope. After the tournament, as night fell, Tomil returned to his room to rest. But Mira rushed in, eyes wide. Come quickly, she said. Lyra has gone missing. Tomil jumped to his feet. What? When? Just minutes ago, Mira said. She was called for a private meeting, but the guards said no meeting was planned. They ran to the lower levels of the tower. There, they found a dark hallway and a hidden door. It was open. Inside, Lyra sat on the floor, confused but unharmed. She tried to question me, Lyra said. She asked if I really believed your ideas, if I thought kindness was better than control. Tomil helped her up. Who was it? I didn't see her face, Lyra said, but she wore the armor of a high commander. Mira's voice turned cold. It was Vel. That night, Tamil wrote notes in a small digital book given by Mira. He made a plan. The next challenge would not just be a test, it would be a message. Not just for the Valari, but for anyone who feared change. The air on the Valari homeworld was soft and cool. Gentle wind passed through the tall crystal towers as the sun set behind the mountains. Lights came on across the city, glowing like stars. Tomil stood on a balcony, holding a warm cup of herbal tea. His eyes were fixed on the night sky above. He had always looked up at the stars from Earth and wondered what was out there. Now he knew. But the stars didn't just hold beauty, they held secrets. Footsteps approached behind him. It was Mira. "You look tired," she said gently. Tomil smiled. "I'm not tired, just thinking." She joined him at the railing. "About what?" "About what I saw today," he replied. Lyra was taken. Questioned. Someone wanted to break her trust. Mira nodded. "High Commander Vel is not stopping. She believes your influence is dangerous." Tomel took a sip from his cup. "I'm just a mechanic. I didn't mean to cause this much trouble." "You caused change," Mira said. "Real change, and that scares her." Later that evening, Queen Zara called a private meeting in the council chamber. Only a few were present: Zara, Mira, Tamil, and a few trusted advisors. Zara pressed a button on the wall. A small section of the floor slid open, revealing an old box made of black stone. "This was found many cycles ago," she said, "hidden deep beneath our oldest city." It was sealed, marked with a forgotten symbol. She opened it slowly. Inside was a small crystal cube. It glowed softly, and when Zara placed it on the table, a hologram appeared in the air. The image was of a human, not just any human, an ancient one, wearing simple clothes and speaking in a calm voice. "If you are hearing this," the figure said, "then your people have grown distant from the balance of life. I am from Earth, but not from your time. Long ago, we shared knowledge with your ancestors." Tomil leaned forward. "Wait, Earth, that's a human." Zira nodded. "This is what we never told the others. Long ago, our ancestors met humans. They learned peace, art, and logic. Over time, that knowledge was lost in war." The hologram continued. "True strength is not in power alone. It is in the choice to build instead of break, to help instead of rule. If you forget this, your future will become cold and empty." The cube shut off. Silence filled the room. Tomel slowly sat down. "So humans were part of your past?" "Yes," Zara said. "Your kind helped us once, but our leaders erased the truth. They said it made us weak." Myra looked at Tomel. "Then, you being here now, it's not an accident?" "No," Zira agreed. "Something greater brought you to us." The next morning, Tomel walked through the city with Myra and Lyra. The people were changing. In the market, Valari traded tools instead of weapons. In the square, children drew pictures of machines and stars. A group of young warriors were building a bridge with teamwork instead of showing off their strength. Tomil smiled. This is what I hoped for." Mira smiled back. "You planted the seed. They are growing it." But behind them, dark. Eyes still watched. High Commander Vel stood on a nearby tower, her face hard. She turned to her officer. "Prepare the challenge. If they want truth, we will give them a test they cannot fake." That afternoon, Zara called for a special gathering. The third tournament would begin, but this one would be different. The challenge: save a mock village from disaster using only limited tools, no weapons, and no outside help. Each team had to solve problems like fire, blocked roads, and broken power sources. They would be judged on cooperation, speed, and creativity. Tamel stood on the judging platform, his arms crossed. He watched the teams begin their work. Some teams moved fast but shouted at each other. Others used strength but broke tools in their rush. But one team, Lyra's, worked differently. They listened. They shared ideas. Lyra calmed the group. A builder repaired the road. Thinker rerouted power. A young warrior helped guide the injured. To safety, they finished early and everything. Worked The crowd watched in silence, then they clapped. Tomil leaned to Myra. That was teamwork. Real teamwork, Mira smiled. It reminded me of Earth stories you told. After the event, Vel stepped forward. She faced the crowd and spoke clearly. This human, she said, pointing at Tomil, has brought change. But not all change is good. We have followed him into games and soft ideas. What happens when real danger comes? When enemies attack? The crowd became quiet. Vel continued. I challenge him to prove his way works. It's not in games, but in a crisis. Zara stood firm. And if it does? Vel nodded. Then I will step down. Tomil stepped forward. And if it doesn't, then the queen must step down. Vel said. Gasps filled the air. Zara looked at Tomil. He gave a small nod. I accept. Zara said calmly. We will face a final test. Together. Later in the quiet of the learning chamber, Tomil sat with Mira and Lyra. You didn't have to agree, Lyra said. It's dangerous. Tomil looked at the glowing stars above them. I don't want to be a hero, he said. But if I back down now, everything we've built will be lost. Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. Don't have to face this alone. Tomil smiled. Good, because I'll need every mind, hand, and heart I can get. In the distance, preparations began for the final trial. A trial that would decide the future of the Valar. And the place of one human among the stars. The day of the final challenge arrived. Valari citizens filled the large arena on their homeworld. Air was cool, the sky clear. Floating screens showed the challenge rules across the sky in glowing letters. Soldiers, builders, thinkers, and families sat side by side waiting. Queen Zara stood on a tall platform. Tomil, Myra, and Lyra stood beside her. Across the arena, High Commander Vel watched from her side. Her arms crossed and her face serious. This is not a normal tournament, Zara announced. This is a test of everything we have learned. It's not strength alone, not speed alone, but something greater: unity. Tomil took a deep breath. His heart beat fast, but he stayed calm. This moment would decide not just his place among the Valari, but the future of their people. The challenge, save a dying Station A large model of a space station, had been built on the edge of the city. It looked real: metal walls, power systems, broken lights, blocked doors, and a slow oxygen leak. Inside the station were actors playing citizens in danger. The task: build a plan to save them all together. Each team would be made of different Valar groups. Warriors, engineers, thinkers, and farmers. No group could win alone. They had to work with others. Tomil's idea? Mira smiled as she watched the teams being made. This is the first time our people have been mixed like this. It's time they see each other as more than parts, Tomil said. They need to be one whole. Vel stepped forward with her own team. Her group had strong warriors and smart tech officers, but she refused to include farmers or artists. They will slow us down, she said. Tomil shook his head. Then they'll miss something important. The trial begins. Bells rang. The teams rushed into the mock station. Screens showed their actions to the crowd. Tomil's team, led by Mira and Lyra, first stopped the oxygen leak. They used tools from both engineers and farmers' pipes, filters, and clever tricks. A young builder patched a broken wall using melted farm netting and cold paste in another section. Vel's team forced open a locked door using brute strength. It worked, but they broke a main wire and the lights went out. Her team kept going. Using flashlights, Tomil's team worked slower, but they helped every actor trapped inside. A teacher on the team used calm words to lead children to safety. A warrior carried a heavy box of medicine with a smile. Not a command. They weren't just solving problems. They were carrying back in the control room. Queen Zara watched with the other judges. They're not just completing the task, one elder said. They're changing how we see each other. Vel's team reached the power room first, but they failed to connect the wires correctly. A short spark caused a delay. They fixed it fast, but wasted time. Tomil's team reached second, but instead of rushing, they let the youngest engineer lead. She had practiced this type of repair on her family's farm, fixing solar tools. She smiled as the lights came back on. The crowd cheered. Near the end only. One task remained. Rescue a group from a locked chamber where oxygen was low. Vel's team arrived first. He ordered the actors to follow, but one actor pretended to panic. Instead of helping, a warrior yelled and pulled her hard. The others hesitated, confused. When Tommel's team arrived, they found the group frightened. Mira knelt down and spoke gently. "You're safe now. We'll help you breathe." She gave a small air mask to the actor and carried her with care. The other team members handed out food, checked for injuries, and walked side by side with those inside. Even though Vel's team arrived first, Tommel's team left the chamber together, calm and full of trust. The judges decide, the challenge ended. The teams returned to the arena. The crowd waited quietly as Queen Zara stood. "Today," she said, "we saw more than action. We saw the heart behind the action." She turned to Vel. "Your team moved fast, but forgot the spirit of service. You solved tasks, but did not bring peace." Vel stood firm, followed strength. Zara then turned to Tommel's team. "Your team showed patience, care, and true balance. You helped not just with tools, but with kindness." The crowd clapped softly at first, then louder and louder. Zara raised her hand. "I declare the human path, the path of unity, respect, and creativity, the future of Valari." Vel lowered her head, saying nothing. After the challenge, that evening lights filled the sky. Dancers from different cities performed in the square. Music played for the first time in many years, songs once forgotten, now returned. Tomil stood near a tree, planted in the center of the city. It was small, but green. Lyra walked over and handed him a small glass of fruit juice. "You helped us grow," she said. Tomil smiled. "No, you just needed a little reminder. The good parts were always inside you." Mira came beside them. "The queen wants to speak with you." In the palace, Queen Zara stood in front of a large map of stars. "You have given us a gift, Tomil," she said. "Not weapons, not technology, but ideas." Tomil looked at the stars. "What happens now?" "We spread these ideas to all our colonies," Zara said. "And maybe beyond. With you if you wish." Tomil paused. "You want me to stay?" Zara nodded. "As our teacher, as our bridge to Earth." He thought about home as quiet workshop, his tools, the wind in the desert. Then he looked at Mira, at Lyra, at the growing tree. He smiled. "Yes, I'll stay. At least for now." Later that night, Emil sat under the tree, looking up at the stars again. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was part of something larger. Not because he was stronger, but because he had stayed true to who he was. The morning sun spilled golden light over the Valari city. The air smelled fresh, like the first breath after rain. Tomil stood at the edge of a garden filled with strange silver flowers. He watched bees buzz quietly over the petals. His heart felt full, but also heavy. Today he would decide his future. Queen Zara arrived, her calm face glowing with hope. She spoke softly. "Tomil, you have changed our people. You have shown strength beyond muscle. Patience, kindness, and ideas have opened new paths." Tomil bowed his head. "I did not do this alone. Mira, Lyra, and many others taught me." "As much as I taught them," Zara smiled. "Still, the choice is yours." Tomil looked up. "I know you want me to stay. Let's help lead this change." She nodded. "And you have the right to return home?" Earth, the offer was real. He could go back to his quiet life, fixing machines under the desert sun. Or he could stay in this new world, among people eager to learn. Tomil thought of his old tools and dusty roads. Then he thought of the tournaments, the teamwork, the growing city. He thought of the small tree in the square, reaching toward the stars. Mira stepped forward. "Your people on Earth may need your wisdom someday. But here, you have already made a difference." Lyra smiled. "Whatever you choose, you are part of us." Tomil took a deep breath. "I will stay." There was silence, then applause from the crowd nearby. Days passed. Pommel's life became a bridge between worlds. He taught, he learned, and he built new machines with Valari hands. The ship became his new home. But his heart stayed connected to Earth. He wrote letters to the sky, messages of peace and hope. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Tomil sat with Mira and Lyra. "Do you miss Earth?" Mira asked. "Sometimes," Tomil said. "Not. But here, I feel I am growing." Mira nodded. Growth is never easy. Vel, once a fierce enemy, watched quietly from afar. Slowly, she began to understand. Change was not weakness, it was strength. Tomil looked up at the stars and smiled. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a symbol, a hope for two worlds.